he did in some of these early game skirmishes here, DJ, and Otto will just continue to push forward. Might have found out Exod as well. Gale Force to try and finish the job. The burn is ticking. One flash, one auto. Coda on a killing spree now. Here comes Crazy Lambo, though, with the perfect execution. Valantis Spike doing a whole lot of work. Still staying alive through the locket. Dodges away from the Q. Coda with the double kill. Total trying to get something back, but it doesn't even happen here. Coda just running circles around the base of Arkansas. Finally will go down to the hands of Sir Tuttle, who has respawned, but I Look at Trees will fall once again. I believe that's what.
Hero, Black Cleaver, Riven. This is going to be a lot of damage. The kick onto one. It was only onto Udon. Not picking up the kill. This one is the kill. It is taken by No You Sing. But now in the pit, that was a charm, and the Alive is nearly forfeit, but they somehow turned it onto Code.
Who do you see as the team to beat for you this season?
On paper, GVU is probably the most solid team.
Nautilus like Meslo can dash in, throw a charm, dash out. A lot softer engage options in terms of the kick. You know, you've got a Tom Kench engage, and we're talking about it. Here we go.
There comes Pluto in with the dredge line. Nice devour out there from the Tom Kench. Now Pluto's taken low. Take a look here at Levi. Has a lot of the chakrams and a lot of the damage. First casualty going on to the Nautilus, but here comes the collapse. The Vikings are here to play here in the Midwest Esports Conference.
Congo line form in front of them.
Oh,
they find him. That's an angle that could possibly come to fruition. The stopwatch comes in. I Look at Trees trying to get out of harm's way. They block everything, but the orb hits into the back line. They are able to get I Look at Trees. The realm warp has been canceled, null, voided. Aggression finds the kill, and now it's Kid Quill, Sir Tuttle, trying to escape, but Cuz is hot on their trail. Kid Quill goes down
Into the base. 9 lives is dead as well. That means more structure destruction. It's looking like this could just be the end.
Yeah, make it another person dead here. Coda going to be falling here to that chain of corruption. Last ditch effort here for the Braves. Nice moonlight vision. Oh my god! Levi, you absolute madman! Picking up the triple kill. Here comes the realm more forward. Aaron is going to try to get one back. What the hell just happened? A quadra kill onto the Aphelios. To get the revive. 9 lives on the backside, able to save him for now. Brixton trying to take down Aaron, but Aaron will get the better end of the trade. Meslo getting one back. Will Levi be able to get anything? The answer is surely no. Blonde will fall as well. A double kill for Meslo, and I think they might have done it, DJ.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Midwest Esports Conference. We are here. It's another start to the CLOL season 2023, man. I am so excited to get into the action. My name's Mac Dewey. Joining me in the casting booth for today's action on Summoner's Rift is someone who might be even more hyped than myself. It's my guy Shivy. How are you doing today, my man?
Ooh, Midwest Esports Conference 2023 Week 1. I don't think they can contain the hype here on Unified, man. I don't think it's possible. It's too much to handle. Sweaty gamer rooms, clogged up PCs, tryhards everywhere, collegiate esports. That is what it's all about, Mac, and that is why I'm here. That's why you're here, and we've got 2 teams ready to face off in the opener.
Yep, it is Drury University, longtime member, going up against Briarcliff, a newcomer to MEC Shibby. Really excited to see how they're going to be able to perform. It's going to be 8 weeks, I believe, of action, maybe even a little bit more. We've got double round robin, so these teams are going to see each other a bunch in a best of 3 format. You don't get that a lot in CLOL, and so I'm really excited to see really how these teams kind of progress over what is really a full-length season.
Yeah, best of 3s. I love how you talked about that. Those are where the best teams are forged, right? The best of 1s, the best of 2s, anything can happen in those kind of scenarios, right? Best of 3, that's where you get, draft adaptation. That's where you get all the tricks out of the bag, the deepest champion pools. That's where you really see a lot of players kind of come and shine forth. And as the weeks go later, these certain metas develop, right? There might be a MEC meta versus like a Western meta, and that all kind of congregates at that big LAN event that everybody wants to go to. That is the main goal
Yeah,
for all
for
of these
real.
conferences, where you can go up against the Winthrops, the Maryvilles, the GVUs that we have here, right? I mean, we've got
Yep.
some heavy hitters in our own conference. So I think going to that LAN, getting that LAN experience, coming back and being the pride of your conference is what all these teams are aiming for.
And talking about that experience, I think just putting on something like this for the collegiate players themselves is something so valuable to, just I think the overall, chance they get to compete for the school and get meaningful, impactful experiences that they're going to be able to carry on and, carry that on into the future and, really remember and cherish this time with the teammates. I think it's really special.
Yeah, and the two teams we have here, right, Briarcliff and Drury, as we're gonna get a roster peek in a little bit here. I mean, these guys, they've got some killer players, right? They've got people in Masters, they got people in Diamond. Like, these aren't just some random players that you're seeing. Mace's in the top lane, Deadpool in the jungle. You've also got Killer Guy, Ice Grande and Fat Cat on the bot lane for all these different teams. It is so crazy to see kind of like the skill level and the skill gap. Right, that kind of all goes away because it just really matters who's the better 5v5 team. Who is the team that gels together? Who is the team that can make those clutch calls in those clutch situations? And you'll see, like, supposedly on paper, better teams, better players, rank-wise, lose to just a squad that is so much more coherent, that has a lot more synergy. And that's kind of what I love about collegiate esports and all these different conferences, that, anything can happen, literally. Anybody can beat anybody. Yeah, and really, what I like to see is when we get these huge jungle matchups, right? The new meta that we're coming into right now. I believe we're playing on 13.2 here, the newest, or 13.1b, the newest patch that just came out. A lot of stuff got nerfed, right? A lot of the meta is still up in the air right now for everybody. You haven't had a lot of time to practice because that patch came in on Thursday. You maybe had Friday scrims, potentially, and if you woke up early enough, you maybe had like a scrim block today, but even then, nobody really knows what's happening. So like things like Heimerdinger support, Yumi support, these bot lanes, right? The massive change that they came in was that they changed the 60% crit into the 40% crit. So a lot of champions like Caitlyn, Tristana, these 2-item power spike 80 carries, Ezreal as well, are going to be super dominant, as well as in the jungle, right? Maokai got nerfed, Avaya, I believe, got nerfed. So there's a lot of different changes happening to fighter items and mage items as well. So we could see a huge shift in the meta, and we might really get an early look at what is strong in collegiate, just because these are the guys that are playing on this patch first.
Right, and oh gosh, I'm so excited. Did you mention the ADC changes? The Infinity Edge? I mean, Lucian, Nami, Yumi getting swiped off the board, man. Oh, it is going to be really interesting to kind of see, I think, how these teams adapt to the changes. And really, I think draft's going to be so exciting, man. I love to see the shenanigans that go on here. What's going to be first picked? What is sort of going to be prioritized from both of these teams, and both kind of see to that point which of the players are really going to start shining as stars throughout the season. I'm excited to put on the hype for good performances and stuff, and I think we've got a good matchup to start off the season, Shibby.
Yeah, and we talked about this a little offline, right? You mentioned that out of all the lanes in collegiate esports, out of everything that's happening, top lane is the one where you can see some of the most, the highest skill disparity, right? It's the lane that is considered the most matchup dependent, is the lane that, historically has gotten the least amount of attention, right? If you have a really strong mid jungle, if you have a really strong bot lane, that's kind of where all the metas have trended towards. I think for the first time in a long time, we've gotten into this carry top meta, right? Jax, Cassante, Fiora, these big, feed me the CS, feed me all the resources, I'll put you on my back, I'll carry the team. And I think, it'll be interesting to see what teams kind of show their hand and show their play style. Like, are we going to play more towards this 2-item power spike bot lane? Are we going to play more towards this heavy carry top? Are we going to something standard like just the mid jungle 2v2 that has all the control on the map? I think if you have a set identity, certain teams will just rise to the top because they're practicing and practicing and practicing. As we
Right.
get into the draft here, Mac, I want to see what BCU bans
yeah.
out. Drury on the red side. That means they're gonna get last pick here, but usually, like you said, they save it for that top lane counter pick or that mid lane counter pick. But everything's
Right.
up in the air. Yep, we're on patch 13.1b. Literally everything is up in the air right now.
Bot lane meta completely shifts after the nerfs, and to your point, Shibby, about potential carry tops, sometimes in CLoL, you don't really see as comfortable top laners, at least in years past, right? So maybe we're headed into a shift, maybe a renaissance of top lane carries starting to kind of find their home up in the top lane, or even, Shibby, sometimes mid laners or even ADC players will just swap up into the top lane, like the Thanos fine, I'll do it myself type vibe to get a carry player up there that you can maybe play around, is sometimes a move for these collegiate teams to start getting some action up there in the top lane, because sometimes when you just get a tank player up there that can only play tanks and you're matched up against someone who can really carry the game from the top side of the map, it can be really tricky.
Yeah, I love how you mentioned that. And BCU starting off with the Vi Band, they don't want anything to deal with that single target lockdown. Super strong with the current items at the moment.
Yeah.
Drury on the other side, banning the horse. That is not a champion I would have expected to see banned here. But like we said, Maokai is nerfed. It doesn't seem that Deadpool is a Hecarim player at all. So unless they know something I don't, unless BCU is hiding accounts that we don't know about, and Drury has done the research. The Cassante being banned out and the Jax as well.
Yeah.
So 2 carry tops that I mentioned gone completely off the board. They don't want anything to do with it. These big beefy high damage carries into the late game, into the mid game. No, they don't want to deal with it. We might be seeing that tank matchup like you said. And Mac, I know it. You're a sucker for those tank matchups.
I am. Put him on an island. Let's see what happens. Settle it to the death. Trial by combat. 1v1 up in the top lane. Really interesting to kind of see those options banned away, as you mentioned. And I feel like I was watching LCS yesterday a little bit. Saw the fudge factor on Cassante 2 days in a row. I'd be banning it. Personally, in my game, at this point, it looks pretty busted. But really excited to see, I think, where these teams, what options in the bot lane they could be picking up. Potential 2-item power spikes coming through with the shifts in the Infinity Edge requirement. Caitlyn respectfully banned away now. We've been seeing a lot of Lucian Nami throughout the early stages of Season 13. But, after we're on the new patch that came out this week, and Shibby, I think this is really one of the challenges we kind of see that the collegiate players have to deal with. It's really interesting to kind of see how quickly they're able to draft in. How quickly, hey, are they comfortable enough to play some of these new picks that they might have only had a few days practice on?
Yeah, and just for the record, BCU's last ban there, it was Wukong. All right, so the Wukong was banned out from BCU, so 2 junglers and a top laner. Drury banning out a little bit of everything, the jungle, the top lane, and the Caitlyn here. So I think everybody recognizes that when we shift into this 40% crit, 2-item power spike, Caitlyn is the queen, right? She just needs to build 2 items. She starts headshotting you, lays the traps down. Super annoying to deal with. Drury gonna go with the Sejuani, a super strong pick here. They're also gonna go with the Varus. So going back to that comfort, like you said, may not be the strongest two-item carry at the moment, but I mean, it's just everybody's been practicing on it. You can still go, a couple different variants. You have the AP build, you have that on hit, right, with the Guinzos, the Bork. You don't really see the crit variation that much. I've never really seen Varus being built as a standard ADC. You have 3 options, but they're all very, very different. It's on hit, poke, or it is that AP variant here. BCU, they said screw the Maokai nerfs. I think it's still strong, and I have reason to believe them. I was playing it not too long ago. Yeah, it got nerfed, but I mean, Radiant Virtue, still a massively good item. You can still build AP. The saplings just destroy your health bar. God forbid you're a squishy. You just get melted, and they're also going to take the Zeri here. So just going back to comfort, right? Even though we're on 13.1B, these guys are just playing what they're comfortable with, what they've practiced with, which is what you can expect.
Right. With the new patch coming out so quick, it might take a week or so for some of the fresh picks to start coming through. Shibi, I know you're a huge jungle guy. How do you feel about two tanks in the jungle to match up between each other?
Well, you know me, Mac. I'm an Udyr fanboy. I love that guy. I loved it when we were in that super boring Udyr Hecarim meta last year. I love tanks in jungle. Give me the beefiest, the biggest, the chunkiest guys and gals into the jungle. I love it. It just makes it more fun, in my opinion, when you just see them duking it out, when you see the 2v2 happening. And Sejuani, Maokai, I know a lot of people are annoyed by it. They've been seeing it all, LCS, LCK, LPL, LEC, but I love it. I think right now jungle meta is a bit stale, don't get me wrong. I am just one of those weirdos that really enjoys the tanks, and I know a lot of people want to see things like the Elise, like the Nidalee, you know, some more active stuff like the Wukong here. But Drury gonna go ahead and ban the Syndra here. Super strong in the mid lane. I think things like Kassadin and Ryze are gonna fall out of favor because they did get nerfed. But alternatively, the mage item buffs, everything like that, you open up options for like Orianna, who recently got buffed. Victor, who's just been solidly strong, right? So mid lane meta is also kind of in the air a little bit, but I suspect we're going to have people just fall into what they really like to play as the Irelia, another carry top being banned out, Mac.
Yeah, in this second phase of bans, both teams looking at the solo laners who haven't picked any champions. It's been kind of a standard, you know, we're going to lock in the jungle, we're going to lock in the bot lanes before the second phase of bans. And now these solo laners, Shibi, how deep are they going to be able to go into their champion pool? Is their comfort going to be taken away? Those are the big questions that I'm thinking about. As the killer guy mastermind for Drury Esports, they're going to have the first option after the second phase of bans, but they also have the last option as well. So who do you save the counter pick for? A lot of times we see it used for the top lane, so it'll be kind of cool to see which direction Drury goes, which lane do they want to set up.
Yeah, Kassadin being banned out like we just mentioned, Ahri being taken away as well, so mobile mid lanes kind of being taken out here in these last couple bans, and there's no way they lock that Yasuo unless my eyes deceive me. They are going for the Yasuo, and that can be shifted top or mid, Mac. I mean, it is a solo lane threat depending on what BCU picks into this. If they automatically assume that it's a mid lane Yasuo and they shift it top and they put like a tank up there, I mean, Yasuo will just feast, right? He will farm, he will keep going. But I do like the answer with the Malzahar. Heavy shove, isolated lockdown. You're going nowhere. He does the penance stare, right? Call him Ghost Rider, because he looks into your soul, looks into all your guilt, and you're just dead after that.
I mean, I know that it can be pretty slow for the Maokai ultimate to come in, but with the Malzahar suppression, you know, it might just buy him enough time for the roots to come on down, as Aatrox is locked in for the top lane. Arguably, Shippy, I might send the Yasuo into Aatrox, and Yone is locked in the Wind Brothers for Drury Esports to start off the season, week number 1. Looking like Yone maybe into the top lane, Yasuo still going into the mid lane, but the comps are set, the lane assignments are set, as you guys can see on the screen. Draft finished. Shibi, looking at these two compositions, what are you thinking? We've got quite a bit of scaling. Briarcliff, quite a bit of pick potential with the Malzahar and the Maokai ultimate, but Drury also have those solid pick tools with the Varus ultimate as well as the Sejuani Glacial Prison.
I mean, Ice Grande has to be a savant here, right? He has to go the AP Varus build, or they are just losing out on a lot of that magic damage, right? Yeah. That's my only concern, because if this Maokai opts in for a more, you know, tanky armor-based build, right, doesn't go the full AP, goes Radiant Virtue, goes Zhonya's, goes these armor items, it can be really tough for Yone and Yasuo to kind of chip through Maokai here, especially when you have laners like the Aatrox, like the Malzahar. Malzahar's going to be playing super far away. They should never be in range of something like the Sejuani. He should never really be putting himself at a threat. I love Jury's composition simply because they paired the Sejuani with the double melee solo lanes. That is always nice to get that passive off super quickly, and that's a lot of pressure, right? They almost immediately win every 2v2. If you have the opportunity to stun champions every X amount of seconds, right? 4 or 5 seconds, and you can just keep getting that stun off, it's really nice. Drury has the early game, but I feel like I said, if BCU gets into those later stages, if they can start, forcing Drury to pay that QSS tax, that 1,300 gold, that's where BCU starts to pull ahead with this Zeri Karma that is just super late scaling. Aatrox, who becomes a monster in the solo lanes, right? Super hard to deal with. And you just have Maokai setting up objectives. BCU's composition is a little bit more standard. It's a little bit more, clean cut. But Drury just has the spice with the Yone and the Yasuo. And so, if they can pull it off, this is definitely the game to do it. Week 1, game 1 for Drury. They pull out all the stops.
Chibi, did I hear some subtle Udyr bias with the Sejuani? The stuns every 5 or 4 seconds seems kind of like bear stance to me. I'll keep the Udyr bias though a little on the side though, just a side thought as we're getting ready to hop into game number 1. Again, it's a best of 3 series between both of these teams all season long. We're firing off best of 3s for these players to get practice. Just the experience, really, I think, is kind of cool versus a best of 1. But anyway, Summoners, welcome onto the Rift. It's the start of the Midwest Esports Conference CLOL 2023 season.
Yeah, we got Briarcliff on the blue side here, Drury on the red side here. And I think for me, on Drury's side, really, the people that need to pop off this game are the solo lanes, right? Yone and Yasuo, 2 champions that need a lot of resources, that need a lot of, I'm not going to say babying in the early game, but they definitely need a helping hand so they don't completely int their leads away. They don't completely get that 0-10 Yasuo power spike. So for Drury, I think Ice Grande and Fat Cat, they're just looking to survive. You can see as the summoner spell choice as well. Varus taking the Ghost, taking the Flash. They are simply looking to lane. They are simply looking to farm up, become that pick machine that Varus says. Maybe he's going to go the poke build. He might go that AP variant build. I'm hoping he does go for like the Rift Maker into the Nashor's Tooth, etc., so that they have that magic damage, the AP damage threat there. But yeah, for Drury, it is really going to be up to Yone and Yasuo. While on Briarcliff's side, you're really just hoping that Zeri and Karma can just make it to that late game stage where Zeri just does Zeri things, right?
Exactly. And taking a look at these solo matchups, I think, Chibi, it's really cool because it seems like skill-oriented matchups. Like Aatrox into Yone, I feel like not one of those champions really kind of runs away with the matchup. Arguably Aatrox might, even though I want to see the cool Yone pop off. And Malzahar into Yasuo, the killer guy, has to play this Yasuo lane super well. I think it's kind of tough to go into trades with the Malzahar, especially with that passive absorbing some of the damage. But we see here in the bot lane, Briarcliff starting off with some solid poke from Belko to get some lane priority. The blue wave is going to be shoving in.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it works right now. You just have that super strong Karma, the Mantra Q.
They just keep flying, man.
Yeah, the ability to just do that. And Lulu and Varus can't, they just, like you said, have to weather that storm for a little bit. They're going to get shoved on here. Both junglers, though, starting on opposite sides of the map. Right, Maokai starting on the blue side, so you definitely know he's going to be pathing towards his bot lane, and Sejuani clearly pathing towards his solo lane, her solo lanes here, right? In the Yone, in the Yasuo. Both of these guys have the push right now. Malzahar should be able to start pushing this lane back as his E resets, as he starts using it on the minions, and that's where Yasuo are going to have some trouble, right? Getting that shove back in, getting that lane priority. But like you said, Yone, as of right now, playing into this Aatrox, and Mace's having a little bit of a rough time right now.
Mastermind, literally, it's just been on fire with hitting Qs. It's been looking brutal up there. And something I didn't think about for this mid lane matchup is Killer Guy does have some extra E targets with the Malzahar minions, so I think that's kind of a fun interaction between the two champions. Something I'll be looking at, the Killer Guy has to really set up his trades and try to hit the third Q to get rid of the Malzahar passive. I think that's kind of his best option. Looking at the junglers, as you mentioned, the Sejuani Alsahend on the top side of the map can't really go top because of the wave and can't really go mid, so not a lot. He's just going to be forced to back. Meanwhile, Ankh on the Maokai going to be able to do a full clear as well. Not really able to look for a gank bot lane. These junglers having to kind of play the slow game, the long con, but with them being tanks and waiting for level 6, hey, they don't mind at all.
Yeah, they're just going to full clear it out, come back, buy their items, and then maybe look for a gank here. Really, the mind game between these junglers is trying to figure out, you know, where is each one going to be? Both of them pretty much relatively understand that, hey, you know, Sejuani's going to be playing for the solo lanes, Maokai's going to be playing for this bot, but it's all about kind of who strikes first and who gets that counter punch, right? It is always devastating when you think you have a really good gank going off, when you think you have them caught out, then the Sejuani flies in or the Maokai flies in with a root. You've burned all of your abilities here. I think they've spotted out Sejuani here. There's no way she snuck into this bush.
That's not how the lane gank is supposed to go, and they have no idea Ankh is right there as well. Alsahen's gonna try to force it. They find the engage onto Belko, but there's not a lot of follow-up. Meanwhile, trade on the top side of the map. Mastermind getting real low. May have to, I don't know if he can stay under turret for that next wave, but Mace is going to be able to recall. Mastermind gets it safely underneath the turret. In the bot lane gank, Alsahand can't get a kill, can't really answer. Ankh is there to keep the bot lane safe for Briarcliff.
And Mac, just like some college frat boys, there's a lot of huffing and puffing, a lot of shoving in the bot lane, but nothing really happening, right? They're both saying, you hit first, no you hit first. Finally somebody went in, and then nobody ended up getting any kills, nobody ended up getting any gold, and they back off, ready for their next, battle in that bot lane. I really thought Belko might have died or might have gotten chunked out more, but, just not enough damage on either side of these bot lanes, right? And like you said, 2 tank junglers, they're not going to be putting too much numbers up until they get their first mythics.
Mm-hmm. And kind of importantly, I think, for Briarcliff, Belko does get hit by the engage, but isn't forced to use any summoner spells. He's still got the heals, still got the flash. They are okay to potentially survive that level 6 gank. I think Alsahand was looking to maybe set things up for his ultimate as he heads into the top lane. Flash used there. Here's the Killer Guy, but a huge flash over the wall. Another flash. They find the knockup. The brothers, they're comboing with the last breath. Mace is nowhere to run in this 1v3. Doesn't have enough healing from the World Ender. First blood goes over to Drury Panthers.
Well, that's a lot of resources used into that top lane. A fantastic flash from Mace's over that massive wall. I see a lot of people fail it. Really good on him, but unfortunately, Mastermind was able to counter flash, use the knockup from his Q, and able to set Yasuo up or Killer Guy for the kill here. Really nice. But because of that resource investment, Mac, Drury Panthers are going to lose the dragon over to Briarcliff here. Really nice play, getting that early mountain dragon. And that's where Briarcliff can start to kind of, slow the game down. If they pick up these early dragons, even if Drury wants to start dragon stacking towards that mid game where they're really strong with the Yasuo Yon ultimate, they're going to have to wait minimum 24 to 26 minutes before they can get anything started, which just plays into Briarcliff's hand, right? Zeri wants to play for that late game, wants to get that 3-4 item power spike going when she starts really tearing through your team, and Briarcliff picking up this early dragon just delays the game that much more. So a little bit of a setback for Briarcliff here into that top lane, but nothing that they can't handle, nothing that they can't weather.
Killer Guy's got to be careful, I think, about the Malzahar ultimate. Mazes, no flash, getting another gank. It was warded. He didn't see the jungler coming, though. Maces does land a big triple Q, but the CC chain is there, Shibby, and that's another kill for the top lane. Drury Panthers dominating the top side of the map. Now Ice Grande and Zolani, the flash coming through. He's got lethal tempo. He's got an arrow. The 1v1 kill. Ice Grande gets the kill.
The lethal tempo sticking up to his name gets the 1v1 outplay on. And then wait a minute, mid lane.
We've got more fights going all over the map. Welcome to another chaotic CLOL season, ladies and gentlemen. The Killer guy is able to flash away from the gank, though, as Briar Cliff, focusing on the objectives, they're going to try to pick up another one, Chibi.
Yeah, unfortunately, Maokai didn't have the ultimate available. By the time he got the root off, Killer guy already flashed out, so he was under the turret. They are going to pick up this Rift Herald as a consolation prize, but Mac, when it rains, it pours, and Mace is getting the repeat gank onto him. That's going to be really, really hard. Still keeping up in CS, even after all that. Just goes to show how strong Aatrox is in that laning phase. But they are going to lose, like you said, the Rift Herald. They're going to pick it up for themselves on Briarcliff's side. So Briarcliff's doing a really nice job getting the objective control down. It's just that unfortunately, they can't survive in these lanes. They're getting bullied out. And in bottom lane's case, Ice Grande was just able to outplay that with the Varus ultimate, with his lethal tempo, and just able to get those stacks off. So really, really nice early gameplay from Drury, but it seems that Briarcliff is smartly answering it with objectives here.
Yeah, now big decisions for Ankh, who has the Rift Herald. Do you try to use it to get Maces a little bit more back into the game? I kind of feel like a Bramble Vest first item for Aatrox kind of feels bad for him. He's not going to be doing a whole lot of damage to get that healing going. Or the Zeri is still feeling pretty good despite letting that solo kill go over. There is a pretty significant Noon Quiver completion for Iced Grande, but you got the boots online for Zolani, so I wonder, hey, maybe you just throw some more gold into this bot lane, try to focus on dragon stacking as a potential win con, but you do gotta worry as Alzahan's still on the top side of the map. Ultimate is ready. Maces could be in trouble. Alzahan, though, he's gotta be careful. He's gotta wait for the minions before he tries the lane gank.
Yeah, he's been having some trouble, right? That cone of vision, like you mentioned, but nah, he doesn't care. Alzahan's just like, I'm just gonna go in.
The Glacial Prison connects. Mastermind landing the ultimate. The chain's gonna try and pull him back, but the third Q through the chains gets the kill. 3 deaths on Maces. The Drury Panthers are dominating in the top lane.
And with all this attention, you'd have to suspect that Maces must have said something to Drury Panthers here. He may have talked some smack. I'm unsure. But they are putting this man in the dirt. They are bullying him day in, day out in this lane right now. Every time he comes back, he is so unfortunate for Maces. He can't really even do much about it. He was playing as safe as possible. Killer guy, though.
Potential pick here, Briar Cliff. They may not have been playing on the top side of the map, but they've got 4 members in the bottom river ready to find a pick. They get their first kill of the MEC. They're a new school. They're starting out with their first kill of, their tenure here in the league. Should be a pretty cool moment for him, as Alzahan gonna come in from behind. Rift Herald is dropped as a secondary action. Ankh gonna try and knock down the mid turret a few pegs. Also looking maybe for a fight. It's jungle support versus jungle mid. Briarcliff, they have the priority.
Yeah, they drop that Rift Herald down, get some gold after that mid lane kill. Dragon is actually up in about a second or two. Unfortunately, no team has really prepped too much around it. You don't see the saplings coming out from Maokai. You do have some vision coming out from Briarcliff onto that riverside, so that's where they've kind of been playing. That's where they kind of have the control. But you have to believe that both of these bot lanes want to reset. They want to start completing their mythic items before this next dragon fight. Everybody is looking to back here right now, but dragon is the priority, should be the priority for Briarcliff here, so they can keep delaying the game, they can keep stalling it.
Yeah.
But right now, laning phase is of importance.
Maces does have teleport available. Alzahan on the Sejuani, ready to help his bot lane out, knows the objective is going to be a priority. Maces is actually walking all the way down from top lane and maybe looking to teleport back up into the top lane. So, I mean, Briarcliff, they've got all 5 members. It's just no contest. The killer guy's back in base. Drury Panthers let go of the objective. They're not worried about it whatsoever. But Briarcliff, that's 2 dragons at 12 minutes to start the game. They could maybe get Soul at around the 22-minute mark.
And unfortunately, Mac, it is the worst soul in the game. It is. It Oh no, Cloud Soul. Oh my god. I'm so scared. Now change that with Infernal. Oh my god, it's Infernal Soul. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot more urgency when it comes to the Clouds, when it comes to the Dragon Souls. I'm sorry to say, Cloud Soul, you are unfortunately the redheaded stepchild of the Dragon Souls. I miss old Cloud Soul. Hashtag justice for Nimbus. Old Cloud Soul, new Cloud Soul. All Cloud Souls are bad. I'm sorry. They were just horrible. But I mean, regardless, it's still nice to get that ultimate, movement speed coming out. If you're somebody like the Aatrox, if you're somebody like the Zeri, you're zip-zop zooming around everywhere. It can be tough to deal with for somebody like the Drury Panthers. It's nothing to sneeze at, but Drury is a little bit, more relieved that it is something like the Cloud Soul. They can opt in to give the third, even the fourth dragon, and just possibly fight for Elder when they're pretty strong.
It's all fun and games, I think, until the Zeri starts whipping around everyone, and it's like a race car going around, just firing away. But regardless, we've got Alzahend once again. Shocker coming up into the top lane. He does have the ultimate ready. Maces flashes away underneath the turret with the wave coming in. Maces say, guys, I need some help up here. They are camping me. Belko and Ankh coming up to help out, placing the saplings around to maybe get some deep vision. Rift Herald spawning shortly.
Yeah, Rift Herald's going to be coming up in less than a minute or so right now. And yeah, the saplings are coming down. Unfortunately, Ankh has opted in for that damage build as Mastermind all-inning Maces.
Maces says, bet, man, let's try and take the fight, but Mastermind with the Executioners calling. Junglers are here, supports are here. Alzahend strikes first, gets him in the prison. Maces gets sent back to base. Teleport coming in. Mastermind with the Wild Growth stays alive. The bot lane is here, but the killer guy hunting, looking for a knock-up. Somebody give this man a knock-up. The flash from Alzahend does not connect. Zoe able to flash away from danger, but Rift Herald has spawned Shippy, and Drury Panthers are going to start on the objective.
Ooh, conveniently though, Deadpool pushing that bottom lane in. They are going to get that first turret gold. That is a massive chunk of gold going over to the Briarcliff mid laner here. And like you said, Drury muscle their way in. They pick up a kill. They pick up the Herald, but first turret's already down. Where are they going to look to place this? It looks like Alzahend is just going to use it into the top lane here just to get that turret gold even back here. Potentially getting a second charge into this tier 2 tower, which would be really nice for them to set them up for a later tower push here. But both mid lane turrets still standing, top lane tier 1 gone, bot lane tier 1 gone. And given everything that's been happening, Mac, Drury with the 5-1 kill lead, it is only a 1,000 gold lead for the Panthers. Briarcliff has kept it fairly even, given the objectives, given the gold, given all the kills. I mean, it still feels that they have a very, very solid chance at winning this game, especially with Zolani. Only with that early death. Other than that, they've been playing very, very well.
Yeah. Briarcliff, they're getting some power spikes online, some mythic items getting completed, specifically Ankh, with a new item that we've been seeing from these tank junglers looking to ascend with his ultimate and suddenly become somewhat of a support champion, just healing everyone for your max health. Seems pretty sick with the next dragon coming up in 50 seconds. Shibby feels like the perfect time for Briarcliff to get some mythic items online.
Yeah, I mean, let me paint the picture for you, Mac. A new tanky support item gets released. Do you think supports will build it? Do you think tanks will build it, or do you think other laners with more grasp and more gold will build that item that heals you, healing your team for max health, gives your team ability haste? Unfortunately, Riot misses the mark with that one, and it looks like everybody but the supports are building Radiant Virtue, a really, really strong item. Gonna be seeing the Nerf Hammer soon enough, as Deadpool is potentially caught out, giving Drury the ring around the rosy.
He does have flash available, but he's far away from home, as the killer guy is going to handle him no problem. Deadpool gets caught out. Meanwhile,
ooh, I like this.
4-man squad response. They knew Deadpool was a dead man. Not regenning from that one whatsoever. They may have to give away the dragon, but Drury Panthers, they are looking for a fight. Here comes the potential engage into the backline. Mastermind finding a knock-up. The Belko experiment getting quite low, but the bot lane is fine. Drury Panthers still fighting on. Alzahen trying to handle the DPS. They're looking for Ankh. They're looking for one kill to start this fight. Zoe caught out the Immortal Shield Bow procs, gets polymorphed, but still a whole lot of damage. The ADC for Briarcliff is hanging in there. Maces having a big impact in this fight. Deadpool teleporting back in. The Drury Panthers, they thought they had the fight, but Briarcliff, they kite and fight their way through it, and they slaughter the Panthers on their own side of the map.
That was a 4v5 to start with Briarcliff, with the kiting, with the moves, man. They were gliding around the fight. They were able to pick up the kill, and Ankh just tanking 3 members strong with that Radiant Virtue. I said Maokai got nerfed, Mac. The AP variant got nerfed.
This is the nerf!
Full tank Maokai is in full swing, baby. That guy was tanking everybody until Deadpool came back from his death timer, was able to channel the TP as well. My God, Briarcliff with a nice fight. They take the dragon, they take the gold lead, they take your towers, and now everything's been flipped topsy-turvy for Drury Panthers.
They thought they did have the numbers advantage. They thought they were going to be able to come up with the win in the fight, but turns out they didn't quite sharpen up those swords for a tough piece of bark. As the gold lead swings slightly in favor of Briarcliff. It is still anyone's game, as actually right now on the scoreboard it is dead even at the 20-minute mark. And suddenly both of these teams, they make it through the early game, and a lot of this matchup, Shibby, I think is going to come down to not only looking at, hey, how are the Drury solo laners going to set up the team for success? Well, Alzahan as Deadpool gets caught out. Once again, we got to keep an eye on those side lanes as the Malzahar taken down, and now Maces in a 1v3 situation says, nope, I'm going to try and get out of here. Killer Guy still has his ultimate available. That's big damage coming in from the Aatrox. Big Qs. Here's Ankh with the support. Once again, the Panthers thought they were on the hunt, but Briarcliff responds. Maces unkillable with that Bramble Vest. He's got the damage online to back it up now. Chain of Corruption just to keep Briarcliff at bay. 2 kills go over to Briarcliff.
Camp him, beat him down, kick him while he's down. Maces 0-4 to 3-4 after 2 nice fights here. They tried and stopped the Aatrox. They bullied this guy so much, but unfortunately the Drury Panthers just don't have enough in the tank. The TP is coming in from Mastermind. Are they going to be able to contest this Baron?
Baron at 3.5k health as the engage comes in. Fat Cat looking for a big knockup but can't find it. He immediately dies! Briarcliff are fighting back. Mastermind and the Killer Guy looking for some sort of wombo combo, but they can't find it. The Killer Guy not in range. Baron is slain. The objective goes over to Briarcliff as they jump to a 3k gold lead.
And that's the low light right there, right? Fat Cat trying to get the flash wild growth for the knockup so that Killer Guy can get in with the ultimate here, but unfortunately whiffs it completely. They're unable to contest the Baron. 2 people go down, and now Briarcliff, you said not even a minute ago, right, Mac? It was completely dead even, but instead, now Briarcliff has taken a nice 3,000 gold lead for themselves after the Baron, after 2 really nice fights. They've also pushed the tier 2 mid down. Tier 1 is still up. Tier 1 is still up in the top lane. Tier 2 is still down into the bot lane. They can go for a nice 1-3-1 split. They can go for a 4-1. They have everything in their back pockets at the moment, and it feels like regardless of who they send, their Drury has to answer with 2+ members.
And now Briarcliff, they're the ones who are going to have a bit of control in the side lanes. Deadpool has to be a little careful here, but he's actually got 2 levels up, uses the ultimate, he gets interrupted, and Mastermind, despite being 2 levels down, easily able to get the 1v1, but what's that going to cost him? Look at the base. The Baron push has begun. The Baron power play for Briarcliff is going to result in just the start. The inhibitor turret falling. They're looking for an inhibitor itself now, as the Drury Panthers forced to back away. Mastermind not able to come back to base and help out with the fight. He doesn't have his ultimate. What's he gonna try being able to do? He's just gonna keep on pushing as Briarcliff. They've got the Dragon Soul should be spawning for them in about a minute.
Oh, they're seen over this. They definitely know they're here. I don't think Drury can actually do anything, unfortunately, even though that they see them. They don't have an instant knock-up, right? Sejuani isn't the Malphite. He can't just knock everybody up so that Killer Guy can get that really, really nice, you know, dream scenario ultimate. I love how Briarcliff has been trading pressure, though, right? As the dive comes in onto the bot side.
Alzahan caught away from the rest of the team. The Killer Guy trying to get his stacks up, looking for a big last breath, is able to find it, but immediately has to flash away after taking down Ankh the jungler. Is a big kill, though, as Briarcliff may have overstepped. Dragon spawning in 20 seconds without your jungler feels a little tricky. They're just going to start recalling.
Yeah, they're going to channel their recalls. They're going to reset, spend the gold that they got into that mid lane push and potentially that bottom lane push. And really, you know, what I was mentioning was that Briarcliff has been trading pressure so well. And what I mean by that is that when they're losing an objective, when they're losing a tower, or if one of their members is going down, they are dutifully pushing mid lane, bot lane. They are getting something in return. And what's come of that is that they're able to then, when they get these Barons, when they set up these objectives, they have so much more room to work with. They have so much more vision that they can place down. And the Druries have to walk into a dark jungle and for their debut, man, Briarcliff has been showing some really, really intelligent play.
Despite being down in kills, they are up in gold and up in dragons, as the Panthers are not going in their own jungle. Not even that feels safe at the moment, Shibby, as the soul is acquired. Blue team, they're going to be going fast, man. They're going to be zooming around. They got Karma. They got bonus move speed with Karma and Zeri. This is just going to be fun to watch, I think, for the rest of the match.
Oh yeah, Mantra E plus potentially the World Ender. I mean, there's so much. Even the Maokai, I believe now he also gets a move speed buff when he ultimates regularly. So when he gets that, you know, that Cloud Soul ulti move speed as well, he's gonna be moving very fast. And I can't think of a more menacing thing than a full tank Maokai coming ready to root you while the rest of his team follows closely behind. It is gonna be hard for Drury to deal with, especially Varus, who's a very low mobility AD carry, has the Ghost in hand, but I don't know if it's enough. He might just get hunted down even if he pops Ghost Flash here. I am patiently waiting for this next 5v5 team fight, which may potentially be the last if Briarcliff can get a nice clean wipe here.
What's tough for the Panthers, I think, is that they have the looming threat of Baron spawning in about a minute 20, and this top side of the jungle is just completely dominated with control wards, Maokai saplings, and God knows what. Because the Panthers don't have vision, they actually have no idea what the jungle setup is, so they'd be going in blind to try and contest this objective, despite the gold difference between these two teams only being 1.5k gold. It feels like a lot more with the momentum that Briarcliff has. Some big item completions, though. The Killer Guy with the Infinity Edge could be the turning point that the Drury Panthers need for some additional damage. But Shibby, is that going to even be enough?
Matt, close your eyes really quickly. How many Radiant Virtues do you think are in this game right now?
Only one, right?
No,
Not
3
anymore?
as the fight breaks out potentially in this top side. TP's coming in. Looks like Sejuani with that ultimate, unfortunately. And yeah, there are 3 very strong Radiant Virtues in. Aatrox has one, Maokai's got one, Sejuani's got one as well. It's a bargain bin sale for the support tank mythic. Support, heavy air quotes, Mac. And
did
it's
Oprah
really
stop by? It seems like everyone's just getting one. This is ridiculous. With Baron spawning now, the Panthers, without the Sejuani ultimate, look at these. They're going to have no problem taking this objective.
Oh, no.
I don't think the Panthers are going to be able to contest either.
Yeah, you highlighted the fact that there's so many saplings, there's so little vision that Drury can play around. I mean, they're literally just now walking in. I think Baron's half health, less than that. Can they get the steal, though?
Alzahend, the hero in this moment that the Panthers need. The Chain of Corruption comes in. Baron at 3.5 HP.
Ooh, I love this
Briarcliff, they're stopping it. They're just waiting it out. They're giving time for the Panthers to come and contest. Baron now at 2.5k. Alzahend flashing in. The Malzahar suppressed. That's what they wanted, but Baron getting low. The blue team secures it. Briarcliff gets it. The Panthers now, all their hopes and dreams getting dashed in that moment as the objective is secured. Zolani zooming, trying to track down the Panthers jungler. Beautiful execution from Briarcliff to try and CC the jungler. I think it actually got interrupted by the Lulu Wild Growth, but it's still enough to secure the objective. They had strong communication, Shibby, in that moment as the Briarcliff start off their MEC debut with a strong win in under 30 minutes. They're looking to finish off the game as the Nexus turrets fall. Belko flashing in, looking to pad the KDA a little bit. Nexus, the sun's getting real low. The Panthers fall in game number 1.
What a nice debut coming out from Briarcliff. A shaky early game into just a dominant mid game and late game. These guys, this team fighting, and look, there might be some overreactions here, Mac, but these guys, this team's team fighting is just so well. They were able to flip a 4v5, buy enough time so that their mid laner can TP in and swing the fight. They stopped DPSing the Baron. Something even pro teams can't do, right? They stopped DPS completely on the Baron, baited the fight and CC'd the jungler. Whoever is shot calling on the Briarcliff side knew exactly what to do. Everybody was a 10 hut. Really nice game from Briarcliff University here. And if you're Drury, I don't think you go back to this Yon Yasuo comp. You play something a little bit more standard. You go with the heavy carry bot lane, a nice mage in the mid lane. You guys got cute. It didn't work. Now let's see some more standard gameplay. Let's see the Drury Panthers that we know and love.
The Panthers started off quite strong on the top side of the map. Alzahend setting up Mastermind and even the Killer Guy getting in on some of the top lane action. I mean, the Wynn brothers were feeling pretty good overall to kind of start that mid game, but as you mentioned, Shibby, the 1-4v5 fight that Briarcliff somehow turned around. They had the item spikes ready, and they had the kite potential ready, and they just played the fight so well. They are able, off of that play, I think, gather enough momentum to really just coast on through for the rest of the game. But overall, really solid execution. They got 2 Barons to finish it off. That's only really just well played. But again, it's a best of 3 series here for us here in the Midwest Esports Conference. Thank you guys so much for joining us for the start of the CLOL 2023 season. We'll be back in just a sec for the start of game number 2. Don't click out of that browser. We'll be back in a few.
It's 2023 and Unified's Midwest Esports Conference is gearing up for a banger spring season. 8 schools, 9 weeks of competition, 3 live events, and 1 collegiate national championship spot is up for grabs means this spring is going to be an action-packed and lot of fun. Let's jump into the format for how our MEC schools can become the champions and compete at the next level. The first 7 weeks of competition make up the regular season, where the schools will compete in a double round robin, meaning each school plays each other twice. All matches are best of 3, meaning the schools will play 32 games minimum and potentially 48 games if all their matches go the distance. That's a lot of time spent on the Rift. After that, the 8 teams will be seeded into a championship bracket, which is a double elimination playoff bracket. The higher seeds will get a side selection, and the MEC Grand Finals will consist of the team who wins through the upper bracket and the lower team who wins through the lower bracket of the competition. Only one school will come out on top as the 2023 Spring MEC champions. The stage is set, the format is chosen, and all that's left is to see who will claim the championship. Join us on Saturdays and Sundays beginning January 28th and 29th at twitch.tv/Unified Live to see all the matches broadcasted.
Hello and welcome back to the stream, everyone. We are continuing on our coverage of the Midwest Esports Conference. It's week number 1 here as we are starting off the CLOL competition. I hope you guys got to check out that awesome format video before we came back on here. Really kind of broke it down really well, but just in case you missed it, we've got 7 weeks of regular season play. It's a double round robin, all best of 3. Shibby, that means these teams get 32 to 48 games of action. I think that experience is just super valuable, but they're all competing only for one spot to go on into the next kind of round of CLOL, the upper playoffs where, you know, all the teams, the March Madness style bracket comes out and the collegiate teams start going at it. So that's what is at stake for these teams, as well as just a GOAT experience. Make sure we will be having live events for the Midwest Esports Conference as well, getting in person, coming together as a community. I'm super excited. I'm super excited to be back on the stream with y'all. Should be headed into game number 2. The teams have swapped sides. Drury Panthers, the early game went super well for them, but they may need to make some adjustments in terms of how they plan kind of around the mid game.
Yeah, and I think it's simple. How many Radiant Virtues can each of your champions build, Mac? It's simple. Drury Panthers, 5 champions, 5 Radiant Virtues. Last game, Briarcliff had 2 Radiant Virtues to 1. Which team won, Briarcliff?
Do the math.
Call me a coach. Hire me right now. I think I got this in the bag. No, but seriously, that item is very, very busted. It's very, very broken. But Drury Panthers, like you said, have opted in for the blue side here, right? It is loser's choice. So they must value something at that first pick level. You mentioned the Karma when we were talking offline. I think there's a lot higher priority picks. They could go for the Maokai, which was very, very strong. I mean, it just seemed inherently Maokai was just a little bit more tankier than Sejuani, right? Like he was living, the roots, the amount of CC, the saplings are just so much more valuable. Like, I am completely fine if the Panthers take that Maokai first pick, the jungle first pick, just to get that, the team composition rolling, just get that solid jungler in. But I think, hats off to Briarcliff, right? Coming in, first time in this conference.
Debut.
Debut, right? Turning a 4v5, using that really kind of early game slip up to kind of lure Drury Panthers in. The Panthers kind of got a little bit overzealous. They might have underestimated Briarcliff here, but just a couple nice team fights from Briarcliff. They were just able to turn everything on its head. And really, it was off of the back of Briarcliff's bot lane, right? Super strong. Zeri, Karma. I think Zeri only died that one time in lane. Other than that,
the 1v1.
Zolani was fine after that, kiting around. Now I get it, playing on Zeri, it's a little bit easier to do, but when you're going against coordinated teams, I mean, you still gotta dip, dodge, duck, dive, dip, and dodge again, right, Mac?
That's the way to do it. The only way I know how. And really harping on how well Briarcliff kind of played, we noticed how strong their communication was around objectives, around the map. What stood out for us, how well they really handled the push and the ebb and flow of pressure when really the Panthers heavy focus on the top side of the map. Briarcliff really able to respond well on the bottom side of the map, getting turrets, getting the dragons, getting stacked up all the way to a very quick soul at around the 25-minute mark. It seemed that even though despite Mace's overall, I think kudos to him. Even though he was getting dropped and getting killed, he came back in a really strong way, specifically buying that Radiant Virtue. No, I'm kidding. Specifically, I think just playing weak side really well and able to just, keep a strong mental, not in really at all, and just stay strong, communicate with the team, and kind of form a game plan to kind of keep him in the game. And he had some really strong fights in the mid game.
I love the objective trading point, right? We mentioned it during the game, we mentioned it after, that Briarcliff was just playing super intelligently. Any pressure that they were swapping over, right? Even when Malzahar got cut out for Briarcliff, they were able to push like tier 2 down, right? They were able to push the tier 3 down at some point, right? It just, regardless of every play that Drury had, it felt like Briarcliff had one in the back pocket, sometimes an even better trade, right? Oh, you're going to kill our side laner? All right, cool. We'll take your tier 1. We'll take your tier 2. We'll set up saplings. We'll set up vision here. Sorry, you guys have nothing to go through. There's no vision at all. Darkness is completely seen in your jungle. And I love that from Briarcliff, whether it's a coaching thing, whether it's a player thing, the shot calling, specifically around the Baron, was super, super nice. They completely stopped the DPS, right? They only had one guy hitting so that it would stay at that, 3,000 HP threshold. So Sejuani had to fly in blind. They had the CC ready. Briarcliff for their debut. Very, very smart, intelligent gamers. That's all. That's the vibe. That's the team essence that they're giving me. Smart, calculated, not too flashy in the early game, but man, they'll outthink you.
They'll use that big brain, and hey, where that really starts, I think, is the draft. Welcome into game number 2. Again, the sides are swapped, so Panthers on the blue side, got the Briarcliff Horsies on the red side, and really excited to see both, what adjustments are we going to see from game number 1? Are they going to, Maokai might really be taken off of the board. Panthers looking at starting just with the same bands that they had last game.
Yep, Hecarim taken once again off the board. Like I said, Ankh, he must have a real mean Hecarim, man. This guy must have just played it a bunch last season. They must know something we don't. And I love it. The BCU Horsies, that is their new name. I don't care what anybody says, Stallions or anything.
Mustangs.
BCU Mustangs, you're the BCU Horsies from now on, as they are going to take the Jacks away. So, same bands as it is so far from last game. And I don't even disagree with the Jax band, right? Super, super strong. We're going to see if Drury bans the Cassante away from Maces. Maces looked pretty scary on the Aatrox, even when he was down 0-4, right? Just his world enders, the way he was able to land the Qs. He lived a lot longer than what most would expect, especially against something like a Sejuani Yone or a Sejuani Yone Yasuo, who are just able to pump damage into you. But Drury Panthers, like we said, gonna ban the Cassante out. So are we gonna see anything different from BCU here? They have the R5. They also have the R1, R2 here. So they could look to maybe trade OPs, right? Don't ban anything out. Says, out of all of these busted champions, who are you gonna prioritize? Because if you take one, we're gonna answer back with another 2 that are really, really strong. They are taking the Sejuani away. That is Maces is calling and he's saying, hey, can you just take this Sejuani out? He really bullied me last game. I didn't appreciate it. I know we won, but I hate that champion. That is Mace's calling in a favor from above. I 100% wholeheartedly. That's the headcanon now.
Something that I feel like we haven't talked about from the last game is how the Panthers really didn't have a whole lot of ability damage or AP champions. They had Varus and Yone kind of mixed, but just like Mace's Bramblevest itemization, he went it first, meant he didn't have a lot of damage early on, but once they got to those mid-game fights, we're talking about how was Briarcliff so tanky? How did they survive? They really only had to itemize armor, and it took care of a lot of the damage that was going to be coming their way. So I'll be looking to see the Panthers definitely adapt their composition here in game number 2 and see what else they are comfortable with, as a lot of jungle bans from Briarcliff to try to limit Alzahan, who had a strong game 1.
Yeah, the Karma being taken away as well, so that means Belko unfortunately won't be able to, repeat that bot lane with Zolani here, the Zeri and the Karma. But now, Drury Panthers, you picked blue side. Ooh, they took the Caitlyn, a champion that we predicted would be very strong in 13.1B. The 40% itemization crit changes have come in. Only 2 items are needed. Only 2 items are needed, and you start hitting like a Mack truck. And Caitlyn is the best crit AD carry, right? When she does that damage, she starts throwing the traps down. She gets the combo. But BCU answer with a classic. I'm not going to say counter pick necessarily, but it is very, very good into these Caitlyn lanes. You have the Jinx. They're gonna take the Lux away as well. But Mac, most importantly, there is another champion that pairs very, very well with this Caitlyn. It locks you down for what feels like an eternity. Mac, what do you think that champion is?
Caitlyn Morgana?
yeah, Caitlyn Morgana. But BCU,
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you, man.
Yeah. BCU are actually going to end up taking the Jinx Lux, which is just a variation of the Hyper Carry plus, Ardent Sensor kind of support, the one that can build it. Instead, Drury are going to take the Caitlyn Lux here for themselves. A horrible, horrible lane to go against, right? It is so disgusting, right? With the light bindings, with the traps, there is so much range, and unfortunately, even with Jinx Rockets, it can get really tough for the Lulu to even do any trading into that bot lane, right? Drury Panthers, once again, picking a heavy push bot lane. They're going to get the level 2 shove. These guys want to put you under your turret. They want to make you pay. They want to take as much of your turret plating as they can. They also lock in the Maokai for themselves.
That'll do it. That'll do it. They said, hey, that first item, Radiant Virtue, seemed pretty good. We're gonna try that out. They get the really strong bot lane Chibi that you were talking about. I agree. Absolute nightmare for Briarcliff to deal with. They're gonna have to, really prioritize trying to survive the early game, whether that be through getting extra jungle help. It's gonna be really interesting. I hear that Captain Flowers is in the distance screaming and shouting over Skarner getting locked in. Oh my goodness. Wow, that is a hilarious graphic, Hyper. We've got a surprise Skarner. I can't remember the last time I've casted a Skarner game, but Chibi, I will do my best to get as hype as Flowers would for this pick.
Okay, I may not be as hype as Flowers. That guy is on another Skarner level when it comes to his fandom. But I love, in the same vein as Udyr, as the same vein as those, I love these big tanky junglers. Very, very simplistic. He does one thing, and he does it very, very well. Absolutely drags you away from your team. And we saw a little bit of Skarner in the LPL earlier this, I would say these weeks, where some teams were picking it up just for that really tanky lockdown. Tank junglers are in. You have the green smite available. You have the CC immunity. You have the tenacity, the slow resist. I'm going to assume he's going to go the phase rush variant here, which makes him super, super strong. Because if he hits that QE or the double Q or auto plus R, he is just zooming back with the ultimate. Going to be taking your team away. And this is one of those instances as well where you would love to see Cloud Soul, right? Like BCU is praying for the Cloud Soul here so that when Skarner ults, he just drags you back to Nexus. I mean, it is disgusting. Really, really nice play. I want to see how BCU are going to play around the crystals, how they're going to play around these zones of strength. The really, really good Skarner teams will play around those. They will fight those to their death, right? They'll use those as points of contention and really look to catch you out. As Drury has banned out the Aatrox from Mesas, they've banned out the Malzahar from Deadpool. They don't want to see those ever again. And the Yasuo and Irelia being banned out from BCU. And BCU locking in the Renekton, which is, I think, really good this patch, actually.
They say, we're gonna let Deadpool have the red 5 counter pick. Give us your worst mid laner. The aforementioned Orianna from Chibi making an appearance as the mage mid laners. The killer guy switching it up a little bit. He said, I still like wombo combos, but I want to do the AoE knocking up myself. I'll take care of that. And Camille right now getting hovered. Renekton, a really different look for Maces, which will give it a lot of early game priority. I've known Hyper to mess with me on draft, but that's a singed locked in for CLOL 2023. Chibi, what's your take on it, man? This is crazy.
Brings a tear to my eye back. Brings a tear to my eye. I love it when I see the Mad Chemist locked in. Singed, baby. He does one thing and he does it very well. Runs away, makes you mad, makes you flame. I love it when I see it, especially into Renekton. Now, and this matchup can be very hard for Singed, right? It's really hard for him to trade. Essentially, when the Renekton E's in, Mastermind has to flip almost immediately. He has to be on that flip almost immediately, so he doesn't get the stun, doesn't get full comboed, and it kind of messes up Renekton's rhythm. And really what Singe is going to be looking to do here in this lane is just going to be looking to push. We're not going to see any proxy shenanigans here. He's just simply looking at the push on to deny any aggression from the Renekton. As long as Renekton doesn't get that early game lead, as long as he doesn't get that early game trading going on where he just starts one slicing mastermind here, eventually Singed, no pun intended, will just run away with the game, right? He's going to run through your team. He's going to have, there's a lot of good itemization as well, right? With the Fimbulwinter coming in, right? Buffs to that. He can kind of go this hybrid tank/AP build. There's really nobody on BCU that could get a good read on him. And if Skarner is wasting ultimate for Singed, that is a win if you're Drury Panthers.
Yeah. As these compositions are kind of rounded out here, I think we've got some very interesting matchups in the bot lane. You've got a warning sign up in the top lane for BCU. Be careful not to chase, but for this bot lane, Drury Panthers a really strong early advantage. Might get outscaled towards the late game. We'll have to see. In the mid lane, Shibby, very, I think, contentious skill matchup between two classic mages. I don't think it gets any better than that. Both of these junglers, we might be in for a little bit of a snooze fest from them once again until level 6, and then this top lane, who Maces has the potential for some early kills, maybe might even go Ignite if he's feeling a little schmoovy. But I think it will be interesting to see Mastermind going from Yone to Singed. Not a lot of players can make that transition, I think, between games, you know? So I think it will be really fun to see just what he can do on the champ.
You know, the Dr. Jekyll and Hyde kind of top lane that Mastermind is right now that he's showing. He's saying, you know what? Screw the damage. I just want to make people mad. I want to make people remind them of the #1 rule of League of Legends. Don't chase Singed here. And yeah, I love the mid lane matchup that you mentioned, right? Orianna versus Syndra, super classic. I think it was always pretty much overall 50-50. Syndra has the early game, but once it gets to the later game team fights, then somebody like Orianna could just start impacting these really, really well, as we see Drury Panthers making a beeline to that bot lane. Only Lulu is there. Belko is going to go in for a rude awakening. Okay. All right.
The Warden walk away. Feels bad. Feels a little bad. But the Panthers just going to back away. We see Ankh on the Skarner getting some great early vision. And this is the solid communication from Briarcliff immediately as the Panthers are spotted, on the bottom side of the map. Wards aplenty are dropped in that jungle.
Yeah, I love it. Like, they always are just trading something for something. They're never, not just giving something for free here. Like you said, spotted out in the bot lane. All right, so then he's going to go and drop really deep vision into their red side, figure out where, Alzahand is starting, and really just contest for these Skarner points here, right? These real crystal, nice zones for them to kind of fight in, as Alzahand is going to be starting into that top side here with the Maokai, as well as Ankh is going to start no leash here on the top side. So really, Drury Panthers don't know where he started, right? Both laners, both top and bot, showed up at the exact same time, and that's going to be really, really tricky for somebody like Drury Panthers to figure out. Is he going to gank top lane? Is he going to go mid? Is he going to go bot? Ankh has the element of surprise on his side, arguably the most important element ever.
I think it's kind of funny. Skarner's an independent jungler who don't need no leash. You know what I mean? He's just fine. And some really solid shielding from Belko early on. Shields the headshot damage as Ice Grande looks for the trade. Overall, this Briarcliff bot lane, they survived really well in the last match. Now have a bit of a trickier matchup as they lose out on the level 2 XP. It'll be an interesting, I think, little matchup here on the bot lane to see how they respond to the early aggression as Maces getting flipped underneath the turret. That's a lot of damage. He's going to try to have to heal up with that enhanced Q.
It must be so frustrating for Maces to play against the Singed. It's just infuriating, right? He just does nothing and just hurts you, right? The flip comes in, all right? And
Oh, wow.
See, Yeah, that's the timing that Mastermind needs to get, because Mace's, he got flipped before his E, so he was just able to E in, get the stun, get the Q off, and just get a big chunk of damage onto Mastermind. Another one of those, and he's dead. He's dead to rights.
Yeah, Mace is not going the Ignite, but still can do a quick flash combo, I think, and just burst down like at least half of his HP. So Mastermind felt like he was in the danger zone, uses the back, gets the Dark Seal, because we know he's going to be chugging those corrupting potions like the Mad Chemist would. So he's going to try and get that additional healing from them as both junglers make their way to the bottom side of the map. The Panthers got to be careful. They do have some vision there, and Ankh is going to support them here. As Alzahand is going to be supporting the Panthers, as Ankh's going to look for a recall.
Yeah, and you just want to play around a bot lane like Caitlyn Lux, right? You want to make sure that they're comfortable enough just putting the pressure on. You don't want to see them on the back foot. You don't want to let Ankh just kind of bully them out, get the shove in. You want to keep your Caitlyn Lux shoving. You want to keep the enemy bot lane under the turret, as Ankh is actually going to go in for a lane gank here. Hopefully he doesn't get spotted out, as Mace is trading with Mastermind, and there's the trade.
There's the solid flip that we're looking for from Mastermind. Got to be conscious of the cooldowns, though, as Ankh here got to flash away from the Flame Chompers. That's a flash from Ankh. Well-timed light binding is going to be enough for the escape. Fat Cat is not a slow cat. He's able to get out of the game.
It's not Garfield down there, unfortunately, right? He's just... Oh. Yeah, really nice light binding, like you said. I thought they had Fat Cat dead to rights, right? After the flash for the Chompers was there, I was like, oh, Skarner can follow up. He's going to hit the flash E. They're going to stun her. They're going to slow her down, and then she's dead, as Mastermind is dead.
Yeah. Beautifully played from Maces.
Yeah, and that's the trading pattern that we were talking about, right? Mastermind flipping before the E so that the stun goes off, and then Maces was just able to get that really nice empowered rage Q, what it looked like, and he was able to immediately burst him down. Unfortunate for Mastermind, that is just but one death, but it can severely snowball, and Maces is now has the tenacity boots in tow, right? First item there, so a lot of that magic damage, right? A lot of that CC with the W root and the E flip, that's going to get reduced. So it's going to be harder for Singe to just kind of lane into this Renekton. It was already difficult in the beginning. It just got amped up to 10.
Yeah, this is like New Game Plus now, where it's added on difficulty up in the top lane. Light binding going to miss from Fat Cat. The Panthers are going to have to maybe pull a play out of the Briar Cliff playbook when topside ate it. Look to play on the bottom side of the map. But right now, Mace's, what he's doing is really huge because he's winning lane without the help of his jungler. So potentially, Ankh might just be able to hover around bot lane all the live long day and not worry about Mace's. He's just going to be able to take care of Mastermind on his own. And right now, Shibby, we are looking at a 30 CS lead for Mace's up in the top lane. And at this point on the Renekton, what if we just see him start proxy farming?
Hey, he might, right? He gets farther than up ahead. It's like, well, you can't really do anything about it. You got to send more than one person here. As we saw Ankh trying to get the gank off, he's waiting diligently in the wings. He knows that Fat Cat's flash is down, right? So he's just like, I'm going to wait. I have all the time in the world. I'm not really farming any camps. I got the W, the E up, and he's just waiting. But I think the fear is that, you know, Alsahand is down here, and they might spot each other out. Oh, no, I don't think so. I think he actually got the back off. And some trading is happening in the bot lane. Standard Caitlyn Lux. You get binded, you get W, you get the headshot. But for everything that's been happening, I mean, Zolani has been staying in relatively close CS with Ice Grande here.
No real turret plates going over just yet with the recalls coming through. Belko was low on mana. See the killer guy on Orianna rotating down into the bot lane. At least a few plates are going to be going over to the Panthers here, and maybe even Dragon with Ankh right now sitting on the top side of the map. Not quite yet level 6.
Yeah, I think it would be an unfortunate decision if Drury Panthers don't use the Caitlyn and Lux pressure to get these dragons going, at least early on, right? We're already 8 minutes in, and earlier, last game, Briarcliff was taking these dragons at the 6.5-minute mark, right? The moment they spotted the jungler on the top side, they immediately went to it, and I think Drury Panthers, in this case, they kind of have to force Briarcliff's hand. They can't be playing passively here. You mentioned they do get outscaled. I believe that, right? I think Jinx Syndra is just so disgusting when it comes to that mid to late game power spike, especially with the Jinx resetting, right? Once she gets that first kill, she starts getting the move speed, the attack speed, and then she also has the Lulu buffing her up potentially with the polymorph here. And as I say that, as I mentioned the dragon, Briarcliff, man, they're tuned into the stream. They're like, yeah, we'll take the dragon for you, Shibby.
Ankh has got the Skarner zone online, so this is Briarcliff territory. Very hard to contest, but here comes Fat Cat. The dragon gets stolen by the Panthers as Maces comes into the mid lane. The killer guy does not get away. Maces with the kill.
Yeah, a bit of an underestimation of their damage. I think Briarcliff thought that the Syndra ultimate was enough, and like you said, Drury Panthers stole the dragon, most likely with the Q. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that there, but it had to be from that Piltover Peacemaker, right? There's no other thing that could steal it, unless you just walked up and gave it a nice love tap. Ooh, there's a lot of damage coming out from Ice Grande.
I see Ankh, who's level 6. He just about has flash available. He's sitting on that control ward, but does get spotted out. He was so ready, Shibby. He was ready to just explode onto the scene. Fat Cat and Ice Grande, they gotta be careful. This man's got flash. He's looking for it. Can't find it. They're able to get away. Ankh missing the gank and once again burns flash.
I see what he was trying to do there, right? He was trying to flash the light binding. He's trying to flash over the light binding so that he would get the R and at least burn 1 to 2 flashes. But really nice from Drury here. They don't burn any summoners at all. They forced Skarner, and we see Mastermind proxying a little bit here. Let's go. Classic Singed gameplay. Maces is still up roughly 30 CS at the end of it all, so he's probably annoyed at most, but he's still probably feeling really good about himself. He's sitting on a bit of gold right now, right? He's only bought the Merc treads. He still probably has like 2,000 gold in his pocket at the moment.
He is so far ahead, the #1 gold leader in the game. It's 4.3k gold compared to just 2.8k from Mastermind. It's 1.5k gold lead. Sheesh! At the 10-minute mark, Mesas is feeling good, 2-0, 95 CS. And right now, the Panthers, even with some of that pressure opportunity, I mean, we saw Killer Guy and Alzahend roam up onto the top side of the map, but they're not looking for these objectives. They don't try and start the Rift Herald, and with Maces being so strong on the top side of the map, that's probably why they don't feel comfortable pulling the trigger on the objective.
Yeah, and it just feels like Briarcliff is slowly but surely churning out Drury Panthers, right? Yeah. Roughly almost a 2,000 gold lead, 1.5 at the moment. It's actually has bumped up to 2,000 so far, and that's just off these solo lanes, right? 40-50 CS for Maces, right? Another 20-25 CS for Deadpool here, and they also have the double 2 kills onto Maces as well on the top side. I mean, these are the solo lanes just showing out right now for Briarcliff, and it's kind of a flip of last game where Yasuo and Yon got a lot of attention here, but now potentially seeing the 2v2 into this bot side, and also a mid lane gank.
We've got chaos all over the map as 2 fights break out. Deadpool able to navigate out of the gank, and meanwhile in the bot lane, the 2v2 getting quite close. No ultimates used just yet. The Drury Panthers want to shove this wave underneath the turret, but Ankh in the river, he's zooming down, he's got the territory, he's gonna get spotted out on the ward, but is it gonna be enough? The Briarcliff bot lane are separated. It's 1v2 right now. Ankh trying to find the impale, he's dragging Fat Cat underneath the turret. Fat Cat gonna try and flash away from the rest of the team. He's got a good position. The ace in the hole. Ice Grande, a beautiful combo to pick up the kill. Zolani is sent back to base.
Oh, Drury Panthers playing that 2v3 to exquisite standards here. I mean, my God, you get dragged back in. Fat Cat has the knowledge that, you know what, the blast plan is up on the other side. I'm going to flash overtake that, all the while dragging both Ankh and Belko here as potentially Mastermind is going to get the solo kill onto Deadpool.
Maybe Deadpool does have flash. The poison is taking Mastermind. He's going full underneath the turret. He's trying. He had the kill just fine. I think he's going to be able to get run away. The rocket does hit. Here's Ankh following up, lands the smite. Mastermind.
Oh, he's gonna get him?
Don't chase! Where's the sign? Where's the sign? Don't chase him! Mastermind somehow survives.
He ekes out of there, right? Drops the goop, drops the snowstorm, and is able to inch his way out. Tanks some turret shots, tanks the Jinx rocket. Oh man, Mastermind on this Singe, turning this mid lane play around, getting a little bit of gold back for himself here. And Drury Panthers as well, just in a quick 2 minutes. That bot lane 2v3, that mid lane solo kill, right, for Mastermind here. And they're trying to even this gold up. But it's still a 2,000 gold lead for Briarcliff, but you still got to be feeling good about yourself if you're Drury.
Do you want to point out Radiant Virtue? Radiant Virtue, I repeat, has been completed by Alzahand as our token broken item of this series. Meanwhile, the headshots are rolling in. Zolani gonna be a little bit careful trying to push up like that, but Briarcliff focusing on the Rift Herald while a trade on the map is happening, and we kind of see clearly how the strongest sides of the map can impact the decision making of the game. The Panthers with the strong bot lane going to be securing their second dragon of the game, and with Maces dominating in the top lane, a 60 CS lead. That's going to result in Rift Herald being used to finish off the outer turret.
And that 450 gold slamming straight into Mace's pocket. He is coming back a rich guy, right? He's coming back buying everybody food, says, I got you, right? I'll pay for your food. I'll pay for your car. I mean, he's coming back with so much gold at the moment. If you take a look here, 7.2K, Mac. This guy is swimming in it Scrooge McDuck style. He built the Bork first item. He's going to go for that more one-shot Renekton build, which is what I really enjoy, right? Especially if you're going into a team like the Orianna, like the Caitlyn, like the Lux. You've got 3 really good targets here that you can kind of just melt immediately, especially with his empowered stun breaking through shields. So now, even if you have a shield like the Orianna or the Lux shield, Renekton is just going to destroy you, as a fight for the Gromp is going to happen. Oh, we didn't get to see who got it.
Meanwhile, Unleash Power trying to knock down Mastermind. Belko Experiment looking, flashing in the Q's. Damage not going to be enough. No auto attacks come through from the little picks.
Oh,
Super Mega Death Rocket does not connect. It goes a little wide to the bottom. Just a little bit off. That's a lot of damage coming out of Deadpool's Syndra. Already Fat Cat has to be careful about stepping up like that. No objectives on the map, really, so both teams not particularly anything to fight for just yet at the moment. But I think it's important to point out that, hey, Zolani in the bot lane survives the rough early game, not being too far behind, is really just behind a Doran's Blade and a Cloak of Agility. You absolutely take that as the Jinx. And for Briarcliff, their top lane matchup, Maces, just dominating this game as we saw on the gold chart.
And Matt, do my eyes deceive me? Is that the new Skarner build? Is it Even Shroud right now? No Radiant Virtue from him? He's just looking to get a crazy amount of extra damage onto whoever he sees. I understand the itemization, I understand the build, but I feel like there's a handful of other items you could go here. We'll see if that damage amp is actually useful once he starts applying it with his ultimate, with his E. And also, I mean, the dream scenario is there for Briarcliff, right? 4 Cloud Dragons. A Cloud Soul is here, baby. And I'm a little bit more excited now that we have the Skarner. We have everybody ready for that zoom speed here. And you look at the average GD at 5 for the Renekton and Maces. My God. That is
Belko Experiment, no flash, but the Maokai Q gonna mess up the final spark. Belko Experiment still does fall. The Flame Charmers not connecting onto anyone just yet. Ankh does have the ultimate, but there's the Radiant Virtue trying to flash away, but Mastermind has found his target, flipping Zolani back into the team. That's going to be another kill. The Drury Panthers, they're hunting in the mid lane. They find 2 kills, while Maces uses that one-shot build to pick up a kill on the Panthers ADC. Ankh trying to find a kill onto Mastermind, but that's not who you're going to want to pull underneath the turret. Ankh just going to have to recall after that.
Yeah, he's trying to get that turret damage on to Mastermind here because he already did tank 1 or 2, so he's trying to get that ramp up turret damage, hopefully enough to kill him. But right now, Singe is just a little too tanky, man. There's a Riley's Crystal Scepter. He's got the plated steel caps in hand. He's probably going to go back, maybe build a Radiant Virtue, might build something else. I mean, Singe doesn't really rush Mythics until maybe his 3rd item sometimes, right? There's a lot of other cooler items you could build, a lot better, higher gold value for Singe, right? Fimbulwinter is still on the board. I know he didn't build the tier early on, but it's really easy to stack for him, right? He can stack that. Probably one of the fastest tier stackers in the game. All things considered, though, even though, once again, Briarcliff is down in the kill lead, they are up in gold right now. 3,000 solid flat gold there. And like you said, Mace is 3-0 with this one-shot Renekton build. Has the Prowler's Claw, has the Bork in hand, and God forbid anybody tries to 1v1 him in a side lane. He's probably just going to immediately eviscerate you.
The next dragon spawning in 30 seconds. Maces does have teleport ready. They're going to look for a pick. They realize it's Singe. Not a good look. 2 members of the Panthers on the top side of the map trying to limit Mace's impact on this game. With full rage in 3 levels up, he might just be able to one-shot you anyway! Mace is on a rampage up in the top lane. They're sending the whole darn team, but it's a double kill so far as Maces says, thank you! Send everyone you got! You need 5 members to deal with the Croc! Rocket coming in, that's gonna go wide. Briarcliff focusing on the dragon as Maces continues to fight all the Panthers at once! Can they take down the Croc? Finally shut down gold. Goes over to the killer guy, but one dragon goes over to Briarcliff to try and answer.
Killer guy meet killer Croc in the top lane. The 4v1 for Maces here. Able to get 2. You already know he's typing in all chat worth. He's saying pitch your tent. Send more. Send everybody you got. My God, that Renekton 5-1, the gold lead, 4,500 roughly going, and man, Maces.
And it's all Maces. It's literally all Maces. That's the gold lead for Briarcliff, and clearly after that last fight, Chippy, it's not a bad spot to put all your gold.
Oh, not at all. Put it all in the Renekton tank. Put it all in the basket. That guy is going to run through your team, tear through everybody. And Ice Grande and Fat Cat, they was like Houdini, man. Their health bars were there, and it was in a flash gone. It was scary. It was disgusting. Man, oof. I don't know, dude. I don't think anybody can match Maces. I don't even think all of Drury, if they send 5, will come out alive. It is a very, very scary lead here. Man, really good from Briarcliff as well. Trading that pressure once again for that Cloud Dragon. Even in Maces' death, they were able to pick something up, right? They were able to pick up that mid lane tier 1. They were able to pick up that dragon as well. I mean, Briarcliff in their debut series has just been once again showing really, really intelligent gameplay. And I think they got a little offended there, Matt, because I said they weren't the most mechanically sound team. Maces was like, all right, bet, watch this.
The one-shot combos are on full display here in this game. We'll have to see what he goes into next, because I think with the sort of progression of this game, Mace is a little bit worried maybe that, hey, he does have the huge gold lead and the huge XP lead, but Renekton not notably a late-game carry unless he's maybe this far ahead. We'll have to see. Briarcliff with, we mentioned this before, the Syndra scaling, the Jinx scaling. This Renekton lead might just be what they need to get to that late game carry point.
I mean, yeah, it is a nice bridge for them, right? Especially for Zolani, who was able to show up in team fights last game here. Is 0-2 now, is down in CS by quite a bit, unfortunately. But, I mean, their lane wasn't played to, right? Ankh was trying. He was trying to get these ganks off. He was trying to get stuff done, but it just wasn't cutting it. Ice Grande and Fat Cat were playing the 2v3 very, very well, and Zolani couldn't really do anything with that extra pressure. Luckily, Maces is, like you said, there to carry the torch. They've got the Skarner Crystal Zones in lock for them. They're setting up this Baron, and Briarcliff's Baron play has been very, very good, right? They're able to stop the DPS. They're using the vision to their advantage. They don't have the Maokai saplings, you know, ready to just jump onto Drury Panthers here, so it's going to be a little bit easier for them to walk in, but it is still very scary to walk in to a 5-1 Renekton. God forbid he's in a bush and you just face check and he'll burst you out completely, and that's probably a lot scarier than a couple Maokai saplings.
Yeah, important as well, Shibby. Infinity Edge completed for Iced Grande. It's 13.1B, ladies and gentlemen. The Infinity changes are active for this game, and Iced Grande's headshots, those crits are going to be hurting a whole lot more with that second item power spike.
Oh.
But meanwhile, Ankh impaling the tree. They're going to try and chop him down. They're bringing in the Croc to do the talk. Let's see, bases looking for it. Yeah, Alzahen has nowhere to go. Mastermind on the bottom side of the map all alone. Maces does not have flash, but does have the Prowler's Claw ready. Could look for a flank, avoiding the traps. Here we go, Maces into the back line. You don't stand a chance. Briarcliff wipe the Panthers off of the map, off of the Impale.
Yeah, really, really nice play. They first catch out Alzahan here. Then, as the rest of the team is trying to come in, Briarcliff collapses. Maces gets the E over with the ultimate Denominus and just is able to wipe out Drury Panthers here. A nice Baron from Briarcliff here. A nice fat gold lead for them as well. Dragon is coming up in 20 seconds. They're going to pick that up on their way to start tearing down these bases. Mastermind trying to get a little bit of a consolation prize here with that Scuttle Crab. Let's see if they can pick it up before the rest of Briarcliff gets here.
We may see another forced fight here. If Briarcliff don't want to push and instead opt for the Dragon, they could just simply give this Dragon away, Shippy. They have Baron push. Are they going to take the fight? They know I think they could win this fight, especially with Solani getting that 2 items on the Jinx. All 5 members of both teams are around this objective. Ankh trying to get the Skarner Pillar, is able to do it. This is Briarcliff territory. The Panthers have no shot.
Mac, I love how you framed it as if the Panthers had a choice in giving the Dragon over, right? As the Skarner is zooming in right now. He's just going to drag anybody.
Here we go. He finds the tree. That's going to be a quick chop. Maces in Dominus form, completely taking over this game. Does now have flash. Looking for the stun. He's looking for anyone. He has the Prowler's Claw. Doesn't want to go in on Mastermind, though. That's a whole lot of damage coming in from the carries. The Panthers' backline is bleeding out. They can't carry on. And now the Baron power play begins. Shibby minions are approaching.
Yeah, Panthers don't have a real choice in anything right now, right? They just kind of have to sit back, collect minions. Hopefully, Ice Grande and Killer Guy can get to a point where they can start potentially one-shotting, right, their back line. I mean, if Killer Guy hits a massive shockwave, it could turn the game, right? Hits it onto somebody like Deadpool, hits it onto somebody like Zolani here. I mean, that could really turn the fight into their favor. Ice Grande just has to be cognizant of where Maces is, right? Everywhere and every time he has to know. They have to mark where Renekton is. They have to have somebody matching him. Ideally, it would be Mastermind, right? Ready to peel with the E, with the W. And you just have to let Grande free fire into the line. And eventually, those crit headshots are going to start tearing into your team. It is a hard hill to climb for the Drury Panthers here, but they're not completely out of it just yet. Briarcliff is playing with their food a little bit here. They weren't able to get too much off of that last Baron push. They got a fight, they got a kill, but not much else. And I think they're not going to really get any turrets with this Baron.
Very interesting. They did prioritize the Dragon objective. I think they might have heard your dream scenario, Shibby. Ankh was like, I can get 4 Cloud Dragons stacked up plus the soul. Yeah, I want to see how fast I can go when I'm powered up by Lulu. That might just be the dream here with the phase rush proc, but we'll see as we head into the 27-minute mark. Briarcliff up almost 7k gold. Really solid performance here. Maces 7 out of the 9 kills. We can't mention this performance enough, man. He has just been so clean throughout this match. As really Baron buff going to fall off. The Drury Panthers get a little bit of room to breathe, as well as they're trying to keep at least three players on the same side of the map as Maces.
And Mac, I don't know if my eyes deceive me, if my prescription is off, but do you see Skarner's build, or is it just me? Is that a Mikhail's Crucible? Is that an even shot? I mean, this guy, does he know he's playing Skarner in the jungle, or am I just going crazy right now? Maybe he knows something I don't, because he's been playing pretty well in the Skarner. 4 out of the 9 kills here he's been participating of, and that's just a fact of Maces having 7 of them solo, pretty much, right? Like, he just got a bunch by himself, unfortunately. Oh, as the fight starts immediately.
Instant flash impale. Iced Grande is destroyed. Maces is in the back line. Super Mega Death Rocket is absorbed. Mace is going to try and buy time with the stopwatch. Mastermind, meanwhile, is in the back line. Maces, you got to run through the poison cloud. Double shutdown for Mastermind. The Panthers trying to kite through this one. Zolani gets flipped back. That's another kill. The Panthers are fighting back as Mastermind runs through Briar Cliff. An ace for the Panthers.
Overzealous tower dive coming from Briarcliff. Now the Panthers are going to start taking some of that standing gold here, the tier 1 turret going down, as well as some of that comeback gold mechanic here as well. The bounty gold's coming in. They're going to get that turret in. They're going to look to even the gold up a little bit. It was 3,000. It's now dropped down to 2. They're going to take the tier 2 as well here. I don't know if Ant can stop this. Brother, you built full support. Unfortunately, you don't have the damage that a regular Skarner will have, and so you are just going to have to watch as your turrets go down, and in the blink of an eye, the gold is nearly evened up.
The Panthers kite back, and Mastermind just does a wonderful job, you know, really getting into the back line and messing things up. The Rylais, the Leandries, and now the Demonic Embrace. Full stacked Dark Seal. Wait a minute, you're not selling that, are you, babe? No, he's got it. He's going to hang on to it. And really, we've seen Briarcliff throughout this match prioritize single picks to start the fights so that it's pretty much a 4v5 scenario. Just off of the Impale plus the Shurelya's move speed. They still are in a comfortable position, I think, to keep on executing that game plan. But right now, the Panthers are hunting and staying together as a pack. Both Dragon and Baron are on the map. Nobody's on Soul Point, though, so you got to think Baron may have a little bit of objective priority. Briarcliff, they're going to try to burst down Dragon first before Panthers can start Baron.
Maces. Ooh, he's fine. He's completely fine. They try to go for the Flash. I have to assume Flash Orianna ultimate. That's a key cooldown down. Briarcliff picks up the Dragon. They're going to push mid here. I don't know if Druid Panthers can take this team fight. Killer Guy burned his ultimate and his Flash. They don't have a lot of team fighting prowess. They're just going to end the game here?
Start the C-Lol chaos. Briarcliff looking for the base. The Panthers trying to get Baron, but at what cost? Teleports are coming in. Baron Nashor secured, and power recalls begin. The fight for the Nexus is abandoned as Briarcliff retreats and the Panthers secure Baron Nashor.
Panthers get Baron, but at what cost, Mac? They lose their mid lane inhibitor here. A smart play from Briarcliff, understanding that they don't have the vision, they don't have first move. They'll instead trade your turret and trade your inhibitor. They're also going to go for a tier 2 in the bottom.
This time they get rid of the turret. Now start the dive. 1 kill goes over. Maces erases the Iced Grande. He gets that every day at Starbucks. He knows how to finish it off. The Panthers lose 2 as well as another turret in the bot lane.
I love that one, Mac. That was amazing. Yep. Maces is familiar with those drinks, it looks like. Completely like you said. Ice Grande's health bar was deleted. They take the turret out. They trade the mid lane inhibitor. They also go into the bottom side. If you're going to contest this here, you better be ready for a fight. Ankh is quick with that trigger on the Skarner, and what looked like an odd trade ended up going in Briarcliff's favor here. 3,000 gold here. a nice little gold lead they've gotten for themselves. They pick up the dragon, they pick up 2 turrets, they pick up an inhibitor, and it looks like this Baron is just going to go to waste for the Panthers.
It is tough. On the top right of the screen, you can see the Baron power play net gain, and when that number is in the negative, Shibby, sheesh, that's not a good spot to be.
No, negative numbers bad, positive numbers good. I mean, literally that's as well as you can break it down, and unfortunately, that was one of those Barons where it's just like, I'm going to take it away from you guys so you don't end the game on us, right? Like, we should take this before they end the game on us, and Briarcliff has been playing really, really well. Other than that botched tower dive into the mid lane, I mean, I feel like they've been starting these fights off very, very well. Ankh, really good on this Skarner. This support Skarner build, I'm not going to try it out in solo queue. I know I'm not, because I can't rely on any of my teammates here. But Briarcliff, with the Skarner, they're able to burst him out right there, focusing the right targets. Deadpool is constantly ulting whoever gets impaled here. They're dumping all their damage into it. And I love the fact that while all that is happening, Maces is just going 5,000 yards deep into the Drury Panthers backline, looking for anyone and anything to erase. And they're just playing these fights very, very well. It feels like Panthers just don't have an answer.
Right now, they are on the brink of losing the series in 2-0 fashion, and Shibby, your Cloud Soul dream is 90 seconds away from coming true. 4 Cloud Dragons stacked up into the pinnacle of move speed League of Legends with a return of Skarner, maybe even a future return of Udyr and Hecarim. We'll have to see as the 2023 season continues.
Goodbye.
Mastermind gonna try and buy time for the rest of the team with the stopwatch. Mastermind hanging in there, staying alive. It's not ideal for Briarcliff, but Maces is here, already ultied, does not have flash available. The Drury Panthers just going to go on the retreat as Mastermind barely survives.
A lot of cooldowns blown. Ultimates only on the side of Briarcliff. Flashes for Alsahand is down. The stopwatch that was purchased from Mastermind down as well. I don't think he has enough gold to turn that into Azania's as well. So this next fight, this dragon fight, if Briarcliff is able to bait Drury in for a fight here, and they wipe them out, they get like potentially 2 or 3 kills, it could be the game-ending fight. We're 35 minutes in. Dragon Soul's coming up in half a minute. Baron in 2. Briarcliff has all the priority right now. They've been laying the vision down. They've burned certain key cooldowns away from the Panthers. I mean, this is a setup for that dream scenario. 4 Cloud Dragons, the Cloud Soul in hand. I mean, Ankh is just getting more and more powerful. These Skarner ultimates are going to start dragging you back to the fountain.
His base shield is ridiculous as well. Ankh once again hunting. Mastermind, no stopwatch, can't go into stasis this time around. Maces with the lockdown. That is a squishy singed, as the shutdown goes over to Zolani, and this is going to be a Cloud Soul for Briarcliff.
A little bit more enthusiasm from me. Woo, Cloud Soul, woohoo!
Yay!
It's a lot better than last games, right? It's a lot more useful, especially in the hands of somebody like the Renekton. I can't imagine when he ults. The fear in Ice Grande's eyes when this Renekton ults with Cloud Soul is something I can only imagine. Unfortunately, I don't think Drury Panthers have a good way of dealing with it unless Singed's W got buffed to where it can cover the whole map. I think Briarcliff is going to be coming at you Mach speed.
Yeah. They may even break some speed records with the Lulu W plus the Shurelias plus Phase Rush. This is just pinnacle League of Legends. At this point, I just want to see the full force of this composition. Like, this is the dream. Briarcliff was like, we're just going to pick comps that do really well with Cloud Soul just in case it is a cloud map and just take over. They sensed it. They have been feeling themselves to start off week number 1. Again, a new team joining the Midwest Esports Conference, looking to make some real noises. Shockwave is used just to try and slow down Maces, but they are on cloud 9, feeling good, picking up another kill.
That's a kill onto the Orianna. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Ooh, Fat Cat putting some damage down with the Ludens plus Void Staff. It's not going to be enough, unfortunately, but Panthers kind of feel obligated that they have to contest this, right? If they don't, It is almost certainly a game-ending errand for Briarcliff here. They're going to pick it up. No contention at all, and not even backing with the goal. They're simply going to go head down towards that inhibitor. Mastermind looking to get something in return, but it may be too little too late.
And this is where, you know, at a certain point, you have the ebb and flow of the game. Try to answer one play on the side of the map with another play on the opposite side of the map. But at this point in the late game, that inner turret is not going to be enough. Dominus is procced 10 seconds on the killer guy. We'll have Shockwave back up. We'll have Flash as well. A 5v5 in the base is brewing as 5 traps are placed around to try and limit the push. Super Minion's going to be coming in. Flash, Impale. The Impale not really going to be able to do much. Stopwatch, Ankh goes down. Zolani's still alive. Mace's still alive as well. The Scorpion has fallen. Briarcliff still with Baron buff, looking to continue the pressure, Shippy. It's getting real close as Mace is looking for the flash, looking for the kill. Does get it, does have Guardian Angel as well. He's going to get resurrected. Zolani got to be careful, got to stay in the back, got to keep firing away. Unleash power, not going to do a lot here. Mastermind, meanwhile, in the back line is just too much damage coming through, but he does finish off Zolani. Both Nexus turrets have fallen. The Nexus is open. The killer guy trying to save the base, but he can't do it. Briarcliff debut in the MEC with a clean 2-0.
Ooh, BCU coming in hot, coming in spicy, 2-0 on the record, and showing a lot of flexibility, right? Mace is carrying in game 2, Zolani carrying in game 1, right? I mean, this is a scary team, and they may be new to Midwest Esports Conference, but everybody knows their name now. Everybody's going to be prepping for BCU. I mean, these guys coming in hot, coming in spicy, 2-0 against the Drury Panthers, who unfortunately, they put up a really good game in both of these, right? Game 1 and game 2. Game 1 was a lot closer. Game 2 looked like it could have been turned on its head at one point. And if this is what MEC has to offer in just week 1, Series 1, I am excited for the rest of the next couple weeks here, Mac.
I am as well, my guy. This was an awesome start to the season. An excellent game number 2. That game really went the distance, close to the 40-minute mark. But Briarcliff, they get the soul online, stacking up the cloud, man. They make it happen. And with a pretty fun composition, Ankh on the Skarner, some really solid impales there later on in the game. They know they understood. And Shibby, I want to bring back your point of teams having an identity and understanding that identity in game and really playing around it super well. They knew with this composition, hey, we're looking for those mid-game impale power spikes, getting pick after pick, and then taking 4v5 fights. And overall, Briarcliff, just a really solid debut here.
Yeah, and if we want to kind of zoom out on that identity thing, I think BCU is showing that they're a very smart team. They're a very intelligent team here, right? It might be week 1, I get it, right? You can't really say that right now, but the objective trading, the way they're trading pressure, I mean, against somebody like the Panthers, they were able to trade objectives. They did a really nice play towards the end of the game there where they got the 3rd dragon. They took a mid lane push all the way into the inhibitor, cracked the base open, and they're like, we'll take dragon, we'll take your inhibitor, we'll take this. You guys get the Baron, but what are you really going to do with it if you have super minions pushing into your mid lane? I mean, they forced the issue. They forced the Panthers to make a decision, and was it the wrong one? Was it the right one? That's something they have to go through when they review their tape here, but BCU, man, they're quick to pull the trigger on their decisions, and a lot of the time they're coming out on the positive end of them.
Yeah, clearly throughout even game number 2, the early game, the mid game really coming together, and even despite losing that fight underneath the turret and the Panthers gaining back some momentum, Briarcliff quick to stomp any hope of a comeback out here in game number 2. We are going to have a post-game interview with the MVP of the series, Maces, in just a bit. Don't click out of that browser. We'll be back with the interview in just a sec. Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. Thanks so much for sticking with us to the post-game interview. We are joined by the Rockin' Croc in the top lane, Maces. Thanks so much for joining us, my man. You have got a dope setup there at Briarcliff. Let me just say that. Is the team comfy?
Yeah, it's super comfy. We're enjoying the games.
Nice.
We're just having a blast. Yeah.
Nice.
And first question, Maces, right? I've been complimenting BCU's debut. I've been saying that you guys trade objectives very, very well. You guys are trading pressure along the map. Is that something you guys are always conscious of? Is that something your coach is always preaching? Like, where does that confidence and where does that kind of split-second shot calling come from?
I think we're just a pretty vocal team. Everyone pretty much has a voice, so we're just shouting out random stuff. And really just whoever's the loudest, that's what we go with. So,
Is that you, Maces? Are you the loudest?
sometimes it's me, sometimes it's someone else. It's just whoever has the strongest opinion.
Yeah.
And just stick with it.
And kind of talk us through game number 1, sticking with and just not falling too far behind.
Yeah.
Despite falling a little and getting camped a little bit early on, a whole lot of Sejuani ganks headed up your way. What was kind of the mindset with you and the team to kind of work through that sort of issue and to kind of stay strong and still look for fights?
I think the biggest thing is game 1, we were never really tilted game 1. A lot of the plays they went for top were, I would say, unorthodox. And they didn't really get that much out of it. So they just kind of kept sending, and then I was still chilling in the side lane. I could still mesh Yone, Bramble, Radiant Virtue. Those are pretty good items. I feel like I could be 3K gold behind in that matchup and still outvalue in a team fight. So, yeah.
And Mac, I'm Maces' translator here. When he said unorthodox, he meant bad. I already know. He meant bad. He wanted to say it. It's okay, Maces. I understand. You got to be professional for BCU, but I get it. They were bad plays. Just say it loud and proud. They were into that over there, sending so many resources your guys' way. And I kind of want to go to game 2, right?
Yeah.
The shift in Mastermind. First, he played the Yone, then he played the Singed. I mean, we talked about how it's hard for top laners to kind of make that shift.
Yeah.
In your mind, what were you thinking in that matchup? Oh man, this guy just played Yone, now he's going to take a Singed into me. What is your mentality going in? You just giving him the same amount of respect? Are you confident in your matchup knowledge? It looked like you really knew what to do against the Singed as Renekton. What was that?
Definitely, I know how to play into Singed, and also just kind of I recognized in draft what my role was in that game. So even though he had the red side, or it was actually blue side, but even though he had the counter pick into me, I still felt really confident. And then kind of when I saw the way that he was playing the game, I was I think I'll be okay. Because I do think that the Singe can be very annoying to deal with. But he didn't get off many proxies. He didn't really pressure me that hard. So I felt pretty cozy in that matchup, honestly.
Yeah, cozy vibes for BCU. I want to take a step back a little bit from the game itself and just take a look at the program. How are you guys feeling joining the Midwest Esports Conference? And it's a dope setup that I can see on screen here. You don't get a lot of that at different universities. So how's the team been gelling? How are you guys feeling headed into the MEC season?
We're super excited to play. Personally, this is the first tournament I've ever played in. So I'm really excited to be playing competitive, having played League all these years. And I think, the team is just super stoked that every weekend we get to throw down and play some good games.
Yeah, awesome. Love to hear it, man.
Well, Maces, the end of the interview section of this portion here. Do you have any shout-outs, right? You can shout anybody out. Everybody's on, nobody's off limits here. You can shout out your mom, your dad, former President Barack Obama, whoever you want, dude. it's whoever you want.
Okay, I'll save the Barack shout-out for another time. But yeah, shout out my team. Shout out, my family for being supportive. My dad, uncle, they were watching. That was really cool. Just had a lot of fun today. So
Dope, man. Looking forward to seeing y'all's faces around this whole league for the rest of the season. I think we've got a lot of fun action for the split planned out. Maces, thanks so much for joining us for the post-game interview, my man.
thank you guys for inviting me.
Alrighty, guys, that is going to do it for the first block of MEC matches today. We're going to go to a quick kind of extended break. The stream's going to end, but there is more action to be had on Summoner's Rift today. We've got 2 more best of 3 series coming up in just a little bit, starting at, I believe, like 5 p.m. Eastern Time-ish. A little territory, so a 3-hour break. And then we get more League of Legends action coming y'all's way. Thank you guys so much for joining us for the start of the season here. Our morning stream, our first block. Normally there will be 4 blocks. We'll get 2 series. Shibby, we're going to get cut off a little short today. But we'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place. More League of Legends. Thank you all again. Shout out Shibby for joining me in the casting booth, and Hyper for making us look good, sound good behind the scenes. We really appreciate it, my man. And to all the MEC fans at home in the stream, wherever you guys are, I wish you all a wonderful rest of the day. We hope to see you back here, twitch.tv/unified live for more MEC action later on today.